Welcome to Following Funnel Force. I'm Brent Stone. I get the privilege of hanging out with Carrie Clement today. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the products that we decided early on that were maybe costing us to fulfill instead of generating a good profit margin. And so I think that getting everything kicked off, I'm going to let Carrie ask some questions because I think that I do better that way. And we'll transition to her here and just get it kicked off.
Yeah, absolutely. So just excited to be here. And I keep waiting for this whole story to just keep unfolding in front of us. So if you can, last episode we talked a little bit about some of the services that you started offering that, maybe weren't going to necessarily be the biggest hits. And so can you tell us kind of where else you went after the virtual salesperson maybe didn't
Yeah,
have quite the soaring takeoff that you were expecting.
totally. So we wanted to get into something that was a little bit more mainstream and widely accepted instead of some kind of new concept that was incredibly expensive with no testimonials like a virtual salesperson. Even though we use some of the technology to lead source for ourselves and to run some of these things, it was harder to sell because obviously if we're the company that says, yeah, we use this ourselves, it's great. I mean, if we don't have a customer actually giving a testimonial, it's hard for people to like buy into that. But we launched into the SEO service pathway because that's just widely accepted. There's tons of people that do this. What I learned very quickly, there's a lot of pros to SEO, providing an SEO service. I mean, clients typically when they sign up with you, and if you provide a quality service, they don't leave you, and it's just kind of like recurring revenue. The only problem is that if you're going to offer a really great service and try to get picked up from other clients, essentially, just with very little brand recognition, because Funnel Force was still a new company. It's not like people are like, oh, they're the authority in SEO. We don't care what we spend with them because we know we're going to get results. It was almost like pricing a commodity. We had to come in low, show them we do really good work. And then we still haven't even raised our prices on what we do for SEO. I probably shouldn't say that on a podcast, but we're not really actively also promoting that anymore either. So even though we still can offer those things, it's not a big moneymaker for us. So it's not like since we don't make money on it, we don't want to offer it. It actually started to cost us money based upon our time trying to fulfill for SEO service if we were going to provide a quality service.
Hmm.
So there's just a lot there. We transitioned into other things, which I'm sure we'll probably get into next.
Well, yeah, but maybe before we go there is just I
Sure.
think people would be really interested in hearing, like, at what point did you even go through the process of like calculating how much time it was taking you to even make the assessment that it was actually costing you money to continue serving that product?
Well, early on, that's an easy answer. Well, it's complicated. It's going to sound complicated. It was easy for me to quantify because I have other businesses outside of Funnel Force, and my business partner Glenn does also. And so our time was already stretched kind of thin. So if we found ourselves in a week basically spending more time doing fulfillment than we could actually like selling the product or like selling products and services to actually make cash flow come in the door, we started to realize, hey, this is fine, but our margins, because we didn't have any brand exposure in the space, were so low, based upon just trying to just price ourselves into people just feeling silly if they didn't use us. We it wasn't hard for us to all of a sudden realize after about 2 or 3 weeks of, wow, we have some clients coming in and we're spending hours every single week trying to fulfill instead of selling and bringing money into the business. It was just it was just becoming very evident. If we would have progressed down that pathway even more and not raised our prices or any like with our SEO service, we would have probably gone out of business. It was
Hmm.
just I could see the writing on the wall. It was emotionally exhausting. I don't know if that makes
Hmm.
sense or not, but it's like we're
Hmm.
sitting there trying to do fulfillment And I could just feel pressure because we invested money in different softwares, fulfillment tools, contracts with other back-end service providers that were not only coaching us on how to do certain things, they were fulfilling some of our services in the beginning for us. And that was expensive because we wanted a quality product to turn around. And so if we weren't out there creating new sales, we were automatically going into the negative. So anyway, that's a long answer to a short question, but that's how I figured that out. Now, there's other people out there that they're gonna listen to this and, hey, I run an SEO agency and it's very profitable for me. Man, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. But that wasn't us. I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell everyone I'm an SEO expert. I have learned quite a bit in the space, and some of the biggest players internationally in this space I've tried to get coaching from in this. I'm just not a real tech savvy guy. My partner Glenn is. He's amazing. He's brilliant, and anything he puts his mind to learn, he just soaks it up immediately. So anytime I get access to cool resources, I send them his way. But then again, if we're constantly fulfilling and trying to do these things, we can't go out and make money. So I don't know if that makes sense, but to us, we felt it early on, and we decided to pivot again. And I'll talk about that if you want to transition to that, or if you want to go deeper, then that's fine.
No, I think you've set it up to pivot to wherever you went next.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that was really comforting for me was advertising sales, because I did that for almost a decade, and I did really big strategy, like marketing strategies and advertising strategies for large companies all the way down to 1 or 2 employee, run businesses. To me, that is my comfort zone. And so we got into programmatic display advertising because my background was in traditional media with radio sales, and I had friends in print, TV, and or made them throughout the years of working in radio. But then also after our company got acquired by a publicly traded company, they threw in digital advertising products, and that was around 2015. So I had about 4 years of exposure to selling different types of geofencing, programmatic display advertising, some other products in there as well. And so I knew how that worked. I knew the type of results I could expect for clients in my market. So it was just like for a local agency model for what we were doing. Yeah, like getting clients online is great, but like I knew we could excel because I know that this stuff works and how to implement these strategies very quickly. And yeah, so that was kind of in our
Yeah,
wheelhouse, and we started to make money with that relatively quickly because Glenn's phenomenal.
yeah.
He could learn, how something works and then go out and sell it, and I already knew how to sell it, and so we went out and hit the streets and did it.
Okay. So then, is this a product that you still have available that you're currently selling, or did you again pivot to something else?
Yeah. No. This is something that we still offer. So the programmatic advertising space, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're pushing it and we're not running any ads ourselves to pick up new clients, or if someone is referred to us, we take that seriously. We will entertain that. Glenn and I have kicked around the idea of adding a upfront retainer for us to be able to start justifying the time and running like ad strategies for other people, like putting together a comprehensive program and then also running their advertising. If someone is big enough and they call us, they've already got a strategy in place, and they're just like, hey, we want to geofence, these areas in Virginia or Texas or California, and here's why, and this is our target demographic, and we don't have to put a lot of thought power into building the strategy. We probably wouldn't charge a retainer. We just take the money, boom, place the ads, and run the strategy or run the campaign for them on the pricing that we have set up now. And right now, since we haven't implemented this, if you hear this podcast and you're like, oh, I want to get in on programmatic display ads, reach out to Glenn or myself, or go to our website, funnelforce.co, and click the geo ads tab, and that'll take you right there to book a call. And right now we're not charging a retainer fee, so that's something that could happen in the very near future. So that's something to just consider, and that's something we're good at. It's just we're starting to get to the point with some of our new product offerings that are incredibly profitable, and we're getting incredible results for our clients, and they're very easy to fulfill with low time involvement from us, which is like what every business owner wants. So we're kind of making a pivot. We're not going to stop providing that service just because, again, we're good at it, but yeah, we have other things that are starting to bring in more and more revenue at a much more efficient way of being able to create the fulfillment and increase our profit margins because it reduces our time involved fulfilling. So
Hmm. And maybe even so much revenue that that's why you're kind of creating this new program where you want to help other people start their own advertising firm. So I know we're,
certainly,
you know, yeah, we're not gonna get into the details in this episode because we're gonna save that for later. But if you can give just a little preview, maybe of what's to come in episode 4.
yeah, certainly. So we have we have developed some new strategies on products and different things that we have recently launched within the last couple of weeks. And even before those products were launched, we were already on pace in 2023 to do what we had done in just Q1, what we had done in all of 2022. So part of what we're coming out with is a local, and that I want to emphasize the local, because a lot of people hear advertising agency and they just think like starting one online, because that's like the hotness right now. Everyone's like, oh, on Instagram this person's promoting how easy it is to start an advertising agency, and oh, by the way, this person also offers white label fulfillment, so they'll handle all the back end stuff, so I could just basically do lead generation and say I own a business. Nothing wrong with that. However, if somebody actually wanted a real bankable model where they actually can follow a real success blueprint, we've been able to triple, quadruple revenue a couple years in a row now, which is really cool. And we can teach somebody to do the exact same thing, which is, yes, why we wanted to do the podcast, create more exposure there, tell, kind of document the journey. It's just, it makes sense to us because now that we've done it, we can turn around and teach it, and it's legitimate. So I want to emphasize that. So it's not like, hey, we have these theories that are really good, but we actually have like the tax returns we can back it up with, which is really awesome. Because I think at the end of the day, if you're in your mid 30s, mid 40s, and you're looking to actually do something where you have your own business and you want a local style brick and mortar business, but you don't know how to like really get into the space, that's what the whole thing is. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of excited about it. So I'm probably sharing more than what we
Yeah.
probably should at the moment. We'll talk about it more
No,
later for sure.
yeah. I think it's great. And it's clear that your enthusiasm just kind of comes through because you are very excited about it and it's been super successful. Maybe just, like if you're thinking about who's listening already, and maybe you're trying to define like who should be listening, like maybe this is an opportunity to just talk about for our listeners like who they need to share this next podcast with, and like this is the one they need to pay attention to.
Yeah, totally. So if you're listening, either A, yourself, or B, you have a friend or colleague that is looking to get into the advertising or the marketing space, and they want a local business model, not something to where it's like some ambiguous, hey, I'm going to start a business online and it's going to make $1 million a year. People do that, by the way, but it's, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot involved there that they don't share. I know people that have, but here's the thing: there's a lot of ambiguity there. I mean, there's a lot of variables. With a local business plan, you can set up in a local market. We're not advertising this in Virginia, by the way. I'm sure we're going to get listeners and people are going to call us about it. But essentially, anyone that's within like a 90-minute radius of us, we're just sorry, we're not going to create competition for our own local agency. But what we will be willing to do is offer for a price, we can come in and work one on one. We can either put you in like a group coaching cohort, which is going to go through all of the basic things you need to be thinking about when you're getting things up and going. And it is cheap. I mean, for everything that you're going to get, it is really inexpensive to be able just to know and have the confidence. To have the confidence to know what to do and not waste money on certain things, because we've probably spent 60, $80,000 in bad fulfillment programs, like back end fulfillment, white label contracts. I mean, just so many things. And there's also really good ones that we've had great success with. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's just being able to go and like save people all this time and money, because number one, time is revenue, but also the actual cash investing in these things. We're going to save people, I, I don't know, 6 figures worth of just headache and heartache and everything that's involved in running a small business. And so it's just, and the best part is that people could literally get started in the group coaching cohort with like literally under $1,000. So I mean, it's not. I mean, this is, we're talking like really inexpensive to start getting the secret sauce on how to do this, and we're going to have a lot of free stuff that we drop out there on our Facebook page, and then we're going to have a couple different Facebook groups. Some of them paid, some of them free. So just be looking for that, and definitely go to the Funnel Force Facebook page. That's going to be where you're going to get a lot of the announcements on some of these things as we start to
Mm-hmm.
release them, for sure.
Very cool. Well, it sounds like we'll
Yeah,
just have everybody stay tuned, and then we'll be dropping some new info next week.
absolutely. Yeah, no, that sounds really good. And then thank you if you're listening. And if you want to follow us, it's at Funnel Force on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it's Funnel Force. So you can find us on Funnel Force, and then we would love to have you keep up with what we're doing with the show, and just stay tuned. Thanks so much. Thanks, Carrie.